Esau here, he's described kind of as a rugged boy who liked to hunt, and he was really good at hunting, while his brother, Jacob, is described as a mild man, dwelling in tents. Jacob was a homebody who liked herbal teas and essential oils and romantic comedies and that kind of thing. Now listen, I say that as a joke because that is usually how Jacob is portrayed because of this verse. Jacob is usually portrayed as kind of a mama's boy who likes to stay at home, right? While Esau, his brother, is usually described as this manly man, an outdoorsman who likes to kill stuff. Jacob has received a really bad rap because of this verse. He's really misunderstood because of this verse. And so I want to try to rescue Jacob's reputation a little bit for us this morning so that we really understand what the text is saying. Because what the text is saying is very profound, but usually it's taken the wrong direction. Yes, Jacob and Esau were opposites of each other, but it's not because one was a homebody and one was an outdoorsman. First of all, when it says Esau was a man of the field, that does not mean that he liked the outdoors. It doesn't mean that Esau was into, camping and backpacking and canoeing and shopped at REI. That's not what it's saying here. When it says Esau was a man of the field, listen, it means Esau chose to forsake his family unit. He chose to forsake his family, his loyalty to his family, and his family's commitment to God. He was a man of the field. The idea is Esau, he went out from the family unit. He's rebellious. He went out from the family. He went out into the surrounding country. He mingled with the local folks, the Canaanites. We're going to see in the next chapter, Esau will marry a couple pagan Hittite girls. And it says, when he married those girls, it was a source of grief for his parents. So that's Esau. Esau, he's out in the fields where he's not supposed to be out there. It's not meant as a compliment here that he's out in the fields. Esau was rebellious. Now listen, if you're taking notes, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Jot that down. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. There it says, there in Hebrews 12, 16, Esau is described as a profane person. A profane person. What does that mean? It means Esau was godless. He was godless. He was profane. The root word of the word profane is the word fane. The word fane means a temple. A temple. So the word profane literally means outside of the temple. Esau was outside of the temple. Esau was profane. He was godless. He didn't have a relationship with God. God had no place in Esau's life. Esau didn't care about God or what God thought. He didn't care about God's covenant with his father Isaac and his grandfather Abraham. He wanted nothing to do with God. He's out in the field. He's out there. Sometimes you'll hear parents, my one son, he's out there. Right? Esau is a profane person. He's completely godless. In contrast to Jacob, who is described here as a mild man. Again, we hear that word. Your translation might say a plain man, and we picture kind of this homely kid that likes to stay home and is delicate or whatever. So this word mild man, this Hebrew word is used here for Jacob. It occurs, 13 times in the Old Testament. And this is the only place in the Old Testament that it's translated mild. It's the only time it's translated mild. And again, we get the idea of Jacob being a mama's boy because he's described as mild. But this is the only time in the Bible this word is translated mild. 9 times it's translated perfect. Perfect. He's a perfect man. Twice it's translated undefiled. Once it's translated upright. Well, that's a whole different thing than mild, isn't it? To say that he's perfect, to say that he's undefiled, to say that he's upright. The same Hebrew word is used in Job chapter 1 to describe Job as a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil. It's used in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9, to describe Noah as a perfect man. It's used in Psalm 37, verse 37, where it says, "Mark the perfect man," or "watch the perfect man, and observe the upright, for the future of that man is peace." The word means perfect, it means undefiled, it means upright. In other words, Jacob wasn't mild, he was upright. In contrast to Esau, who's profane, who's godless, Jacob is upright. His heart was right toward God. His heart was perfect toward God. Again, in contrast to Esau, who was profane. See, this is a different picture, isn't it? It's a different picture than a kid who likes to stay home and drink herbal tea and essential oils and romantic comedies. He's upright. He's upright towards God. It goes on in verse 27 to describe Jacob as dwelling in tents. That doesn't mean he was a homebody who just didn't like going outside. It's not what it means. Jacob was a shepherd, like his father Isaac and his grandfather Abraham. Shepherding was not a job for sissies. David, remember, as a shepherd, he has to fight a lion and a bear to protect his flock. Shepherds spend all their time outside. When the angel announced the birth of Jesus to the shepherds were outside in the field watching their flocks by night. The phrase dwelling in tents means Jacob chose to stay within the family clan. He chose to be loyal to his family and the family responsibilities. Jacob was dwelling in the tent. Jacob was doing the right thing. Jacob was keeping his obligations to his family while his brother Esau was out wandering in the fields, doing the wrong thing. In other words, Jacob is the responsible son. Esau is the irresponsible son. Jacob is upright toward God. Esau is profane. This is why God chose Jacob over Esau. This is why in Malachi, God says, Jacob I loved, and Esau I hated. God said that. God said that? Yeah, God said that. Jacob I loved, and Esau I hated, because Jacob was upright and responsible, and Esau was profane and irresponsible. That's the contrast here.